Welcome back to How This Mom Does It, and today I'm going to be sharing with you our history curriculum for the 2017-2018 school year. We're going to be using Story of the World Volume 2, The Middle Ages, and I'm also going to be sharing with you all of the resources we're going to be using along with it. If you're interested in seeing what we're going to be learning this year, stay tuned. For the 2017-2018 school year, we're going to be using Story of the World Volume 2, The Middle Ages for our history curriculum. Last year, we did use Story of the World Volume 1, Ancient Times, and my daughter really liked it and asked to continue on this year, so we're going to be doing Volume 2. If you are interested in seeing a video on Story of the World Volume 1, I do have a video that goes over the resources that we used with that, and I will link that above now. But for this year, we're going to be doing Story of the World Volume 2, and I am going to be using this with my second/third grader. She's actually second grade, but does a lot of third grade work. And then I also have my pre-Ker this year, who is pre-K/kindergarten. He's doing a lot of kindergarten work this year, even though he isn't quite of age for kindergarten. So I will be using this with both of those children. My son, who's younger, will be doing basically the coloring pages, listening to the stories, reading the books with us. My daughter will be using the activity book and doing the narrations and the activity pages, the student pages from the book, and then also be doing some biographies, historical biographies. So a couple different things, and I'll go over that a little bit later in the video. For the Story of the World curriculum that we're going to be using, we do have the book as well as the audiobook, and I highly recommend getting the audiobook as well. We spend a lot of time in our car, and I found that having the audiobook is very, very helpful. So we do mostly listen to it, but I do like having the physical book as well, so we can refer back to it and go over sections if we need to go in more in depth or review something. It's just nice to have both. And then I also did pick up the test booklet, which I actually got used for around $1. So when I saw that, I grabbed it. And I will be getting the activity book as well. I will be getting that from our homeschool charter for free. So I'm very grateful to get that for free. I just don't have it yet. But the activity book is what gives you the pages to read in the encyclopedias, as well as the student activities and the student activity pages and the recommendations for different books to read to go along with the story. Lots of different stuff. So I highly recommend getting that, and I will be getting that as well. And then I also will be downloading the PDF that you can buy off the Well-Trained Mind site. And the student page PDF basically is just the student pages, but it allows you just to be able to print them so you don't have to copy. So if you are using this with more than one child, I'm not a big fan of copying. I don't want to sit there and copy the pages, so I just prefer to print. So I will be getting that as well. And as for the rest of it, I will start going over the rest of the resources and books that we will be using this year. So with the Story of the World, we're going to be using the Usborne Encyclopedia of World History. And this is the same history encyclopedia that we used last year. So we get to use it again this year, which is nice. And then I also have the Usborne Internet-Linked Medieval World Encyclopedia, the Usborne Time Traveler, and this we actually used last year as well, but we get to use it again this year, which is nice. I have a Discovery Knights and Battles book, and this is a really cool one. My kids have actually already been flipping through it. It has a lot of lift the flaps and let's see if I can, timelines and all different kinds of things that pull-outs. My kids like anything that you can flip through and lift the flap. So they've already been looking through that, and this is a pretty cool little book. We also have the Usborne Illustrated Guide to Norse Myths and Legends, the Best Book of Knights and Castles, the Kingfisher Castles book, and these are some themed picture books. I have Knights in Shining Armor by Gail Gibbons, A Medieval Feast by Aliki, Journey Through History, the Renaissance, Chanticleer and the Fox, A Year in a Castle, Joan of Arc by Diane Stanley, Sir Gawain and the Lovely Lady, The Rise and Fall of Knight Eric, and I actually got this for 25 cents, so proud of that one. Patrick, Patron Saint of Ireland, Living in Castle Times, an Usborne First History book, Armor, The Making of a Knight by Patrick O'Brien, Favorite Medieval Tales, Mary Pope Osborne, and The Barefoot Book of Knights. And this is has really pretty illustrations. I like the Barefoot books. And I have several leveled readers and read alouds that we're going to be doing. We're going to be reading The Door in the Wall. And then I also have The Tale of Despero as an audiobook only. The Night at Dawn, which is a Magic Treehouse book, and that is an audiobook only. And then I have Time Warp Trio, The Knights of the Kitchen Table, and that is an audiobook only. So we will be listening to those. And then my daughter will be reading The Sword in the Tree, The Knights of the Round Table, The Minstrel in the Tower, The Three Musketeers, The Knight's Tales, The Adventures of Sir Lancelot the Great. And this is just a cute book, Good Night, Good Night. And then a couple leveled readers, the DK leveled reader, Knights and Castles. And then like a level 2 reader, Knights. I have several of the Circumference books, and these are basically math adventures based in the time period. So I have Circumference and the Dragon of Pi, Circumference and the First Round Table, and Circumference and the Great Knight of England. Actually, I have several books on Shakespeare. I have this Shakespeare for Kids, His Life and Times. It's different activities. It has things they can do. They can act out scenes and all kinds of stuff. So I got this book. Actually, most of the books that I've shown you have been used. And I usually spend around $1 to $2 depending on the book. And sometimes a lot less depending on where I get them. So I try and be $1 or less. Some books, if it's a really good one, I will pay $2. But usually try and stay less than $2 per book. So I have that one. And then I also have People of the Poetry for Young People, William Shakespeare. I have Stories from Shakespeare, and that's an Usborne book. And then I have William Shakespeare and the Globe, and that is by Aliki. And I had never seen this one before online, but I found this used, and when I came across it, I had to pick it up. So I have those books on Shakespeare. I like to incorporate audiobooks where I can, and I've got several other audiobooks that we're going to be listening to, but I have these on CD. I have a few of the ones as told by Jim Weiss. I have Galileo and the Stargazers. I have Who in the World Was the Secretive Printer? The Story of Johannes Gutenberg. I have King Arthur and His Knights as told by Jim Weiss. And I have Masters of the Renaissance as told by Jim Weiss. And then along with this, we're going to be doing, for art this year, my daughter is going to be reading several of the Getting to Know the World's Greatest Artist books, as well as these Art for Children books. And I got all of these used for around $1, so it was a pretty good buy. So I have a Giotto, Leonardo da Vinci's for Art for Children, the Getting to Know the World's Greatest Artist, Michelangelo, the Art for Children, Michelangelo, the Getting to Know the World's Greatest Artist, Rembrandt, and the Art for Children, Rembrandt. And then I found this painting in the Renaissance book, and it has some really pretty illustrations in it. So we'll be going through that as well. We are going to be using a few things from Classical Conversations. We don't do the Classical Conversations program, but I do like some of their products, and I decided to go ahead and pick up the history cards this year for the medieval world. They have really beautiful illustrations on the front, and then the history facts on the back with the timeline. So I really like that, and we're going to be using those this year as we're going to be doing a timeline. And then we also are going to be using the Foundations Audio CD Cycle 2, and then the review memory cards. And I'm just picking out what I want from those. So the things that go along with what we're studying, that's what I'm going to be incorporating into my lesson plans. And I just log it into my lesson plan spreadsheet for whatever week we're doing, so I remember what we're going to be doing. And then I just put them on a ring, and they were already hole punched, which is really nice. And I'll just pull out the memory work that goes along with what we're going to be doing. So that's how I'm going to be using these. We're going to be doing several projects this year, craft type things. My daughter loves to craft, so I have to incorporate crafts. And we'll probably be doing some things from the activity book, but I picked up a couple things as I found them. This is the famous figures of the Renaissance. We did the ancient civilizations figures last year at the end, and had a lot of fun with that. So I went ahead and picked up this one too. And basically, you just cut them out. You can color them, or they have a pre-colored one, and you just attach them with brads to make little movable figures. So we like doing that. So I went ahead and picked up this one. And then this, I believe, was from the Dollar Tree, and I've had it for like a year. I was saving it. It is the Knight's Castle kit, and this is just like a fun little castle. I have our timeline, and we did this with the Ancient Civilizations kit, the Ancient Civilizations timeline. So I went ahead and picked up the one for the Reformation and the Renaissance. So we're going to be using that, and it is a pretty easy to use timeline. It was fairly inexpensive. It was only $10, so I went ahead and picked this one up too. I actually got this. You can see it still has a tag on it. I got it for 25 cents, and it's a model. You actually make a ship from the time of Columbus. So that was pretty cool, and for 25 cents, I couldn't pass that up. I also picked this up from Oriental Trading, and it is I don't know if you can see, I haven't opened it up yet. It's basically a make-your-own castle. It's a cardboard castle that you put together. It's kind of like a cardstock type of material, and then it has the little characters to go with it, so you color it and put it together. So I figured my kids would have fun doing that. And then I also picked up a couple of these stencils. I did that last year when we did the ancient times as well. So I have stencils for knights and some Vikings. In addition to the Story of the World curriculum and the read-alouds and the theme picture books, encyclopedias, and all that, my daughter is going to be studying several different historical figures from the time period, and then doing a little report on them. And some of them may have one of these movable figures, and some of them don't. So if they do, great. If not, she may draw a picture or just do a report. And the figures that we're going to be studying are Marco Polo, which I actually was able to get one of these Who Was books as an audio book. I was able to get several of them actually in the Who Was series, which we've used before last year for different historical figures, and we really like them. I was able to get them as audiobooks from audible.com for around $2 a piece. So I was really, really excited about that, but I don't have the actual physical copies of them, but I wanted to show you what one of the books looks like, and we're actually going to do Neil Armstrong next year anyways, so I wanted to show you what the book looks like. But we're going to be doing Marco Polo as a Who Was book, and we're going to be doing Joan of Arc, and I'm going to be using this book for Joan of Arc. And then we're going to be doing Leonardo da Vinci, and I have several of the art books for Leonardo da Vinci, but I also have one of the Who Was books as an audiobook for Leonardo da Vinci, and then we also have the Masters of the Renaissance. He's in this book, as in this audio CD as well. And then we're going to be doing Johannes Gutenberg, and I have this CD, which I showed earlier, for him. And then Ferdinand Magellan, and I have him as an audio Who Was book. Queen Elizabeth, I have as a Who Was book. Galileo, I have as a Who Was book, but I also have this CD that we'll be listening to that has him in it as well. And then William Shakespeare. And I have a lot of books on William Shakespeare, but I also have a Who Was book for him. And then the last one we're going to be doing is actually Neil Armstrong. And I have him here because I wanted to show what one of the Who Was books looks like. But we're also doing that biography because we're using elemental science for our science curriculum. And at the end of the year, they have you do a report on Neil Armstrong as part of the curriculum. So it goes all together because we're doing astronomy next year and space exploration. So that is our project that we're going to be doing all year long on historical biographies. And lastly, to go along with our Story of the World Volume 2, The Middle Ages, I purchased 2 posters that show the time period, and I will go ahead and insert pictures of them now. And that is what we're going to be using with Story of the World Volume 2, The Middle Ages. I will also be posting videos that show our entire curriculum for the year for my daughter as well as for my son because it is a little bit different. So I will be getting videos up for those, so be on the lookout for those. And I'm going to try and get videos up for the individual subjects so I can show them more in depth like I did here. So I hope to get up videos for elemental science, earth science that we're going to be doing, and the resources and books that we're going to be using with that. So be on the lookout for those as well. I have a lot posted on my website right now of different links to free printables and different unit studies and other things that I'm going to be using and have used. And you can check those out at howthismomdoesit.com. Be sure to follow me on Facebook for freebies, and I post pictures of different things that we're doing in our homeschool because I don't always get to post videos. So check me out there as well. I hope you like this video. If you do, click like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.